Milo and the Flying Cupcake Bakery. Milo had always considered his grandmother a little eccentric, but he'd loved her dearly. Her small apartment, overflowing with strange trinkets and the constant aroma of sugar and cinnamon, was his sanctuary. So when the letter arrived informing him of her passing and the unexpected inheritance of her establishment, Milo was surprised, to say the least. The establishment turned out to be a tiny pastel-colored bakery perched precariously on what appeared to be a giant ornate teacup, and it was floating about 50 feet above his head. His grandmother's solicitor, a flustered man named Mr. Abernathy, explained in a rush that Buttercup's bakery wasn't exactly earthbound. Apparently, his grandmother had been keeping a rather large secret. Her cupcakes had the peculiar ability to grant wishes, and the bakery itself was enchanted to drift gently through the skies. Milo stared at the floating bakery, a whirlwind of disbelief and dawning wonder swirling within him. He found a small silver whistle amongst his grandmother's belongings and a note. "A little toot is all it takes, my dear Milo. Love, Gran." Hesitantly, he blew the whistle. A soft, shimmering ladder of light descended from the bakery door. Climbing inside, Milo found the bakery just as he remembered it, only smaller on the outside than it seemed within. Jars of colorful sprinkles lined the walls, and the air hummed with a faint, sweet magic. On a velvet cushion lay a recipe book titled Whispers of the Sweetest Wishes. The first few days were a chaotic, sugar-fueled adventure. He accidentally wished for his laundry to fold itself, it did, into a giant swan, and then for his perpetually grumpy neighbor Mrs. Higgins to have a day filled with unexpected joy. He later saw her skipping down the street, singing off-key. The recipe book offered cryptic instructions, emphasizing the importance of intention and the delicate balance of magical ingredients. News of the floating bakery, however, began to spread. Whispers turned into rumors, and soon, Milo saw strange figures loitering below, their eyes fixed on his airborne shop. There was a slick-haired man in a sharp suit who kept asking about unlimited resources, and a woman with shifty eyes who seemed overly interested in eternal youth. Milo knew he had to be careful. These weren't people who would use the wishes responsibly. He started being more selective about who he served, baking only for those with kind eyes and genuine needs. He wished for a little girl's lost puppy to reappear. It did, tail wagging furiously, and for an elderly man's ailing rose garden to bloom again. The scent wafted up to the bakery, sweet and strong. One particularly blustery afternoon, the slick-haired man returned with a small drone. It buzzed around the bakery, trying to peer inside. Fear clenched Milo's stomach. He knew he couldn't keep Buttercup's bakery a secret forever, especially if people with selfish intentions were actively trying to exploit its magic. He opened the recipe book, his fingers tracing the faded ink. He needed a wish to protect the bakery, something that would keep it safe from those who would misuse its power. He found a recipe for guardian ganache. The ingredients listed were unusual: starlight, a feather from a bird that flies above the clouds, and a single tear of true kindness. Gathering the ingredients was an adventure in itself. He caught a sliver of starlight in a jar during a clear night, found a pristine white feather after a flock of high-flying birds passed by, and the tear came unexpectedly when he helped a lost tourist find her way. Following the recipe carefully, Milo baked a batch of shimmering, silver-frosted cupcakes. As he placed them on the counter, a gentle warmth filled the bakery. He knew these weren't for granting personal desires, but for safeguarding the magic itself. He wished for Buttercup's bakery to be protected, to only be visible and accessible to those with good intentions. A soft, golden shimmer enveloped the bakery. When Milo looked down, the drone was still circling, but it seemed to be looking right through them. The figures below squinted, their faces etched with confusion. The magic was working. Milo knew his responsibility had just begun. He was the custodian of a wondrous gift, a baker of hope on a flying teacup. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the Istanbul skyline, Milo looked out from his floating bakery, a newfound determination in his eyes. He would honor his grandmother's legacy, one wish-granting cupcake at a time, ensuring the magic of Buttercup's bakery brought only sweetness and light to the world.